episode of Pinoy Study Abroad Guide by IDP. And my name is Joanna. I'm gonna be your host for today and all throughout the episodes, of course. You have no choice. Kidding. Anyway, I'm privileged to introduce one of IDP's destination managers, Cecil Mundo. And by the way, you are now the head of the student placement team.
Hi, Joanna. Thank you for having me.
We invited you today because we all know that IDP has helped thousands of students to study in Australia and New Zealand over the years. Now, what is the main reason or ano yung primary reason why students would opt to go abroad?
Okay, so basically there's one main reason. It's about global competitive advantage or global competitiveness. Nowadays, you've seen students, graduating with a local degree here in the country, finding work locally, and then by the middle of their career, they find themselves not being able to be promoted because they need to get that upskilling, or they need to make sure that they have their correct skills, which they have not learned in school and have not learned in their previous employment experience, to be able to have that management role.
Okay, and the world really changes in a very fast pace. You have to be globally competitive.
Yes.
Okay, but why is Australia and New Zealand the most popular destination to students?
Well, main reason would definitely be proximity to the country, to the Philippines. It will only take you around 8 hours for a flight to Sydney or to Perth or anywhere in Australia, and maybe a couple of connecting flights from Australia to New Zealand. So basically the proximity, that's one. Second would be where a lot of Filipinos are. So definitely Filipinos would usually flock to where their countrymen would usually be.
Yeah.
So whether it be family or friends and they've heard a lot of good things about that destination, then it's an option for them right away. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, a lot of students would like to get the chance to study abroad, though
Yes.
it's a very big decision and it's life-changing, we must say.
Yes.
There are a lot of things to sort out before you can even get started. But it's actually much simpler if you have the right consultation and support. So can you walk us through the process of studying in Australia or New Zealand?
Actually, that term, right consultation and support, that's what I'm really here for, to discuss with you. It's students' common misconception would be it would be very difficult, it will take them a long time, they would have to go through all these channels before they can figure out how to actually start the process of studying overseas. But there's only 5 basic steps.
I couldn't imagine it can get simpler. I mean, like 5 steps?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the first step?
Just 5 steps. So first step is definitely checking or deciding where you would like to go to study.
Okay.
So choose your destination, whether it's Australia, it's New Zealand, or any other country. Once you choose your destination, or once you've chosen your destination, check the schools in that country. Check the skills that you would like to learn, comparing it with the specialty of those schools.
All right.
And also check the specific area where that school is located so that you're familiar already with what you can expect.
Okay.
So once you've done enough research, second would be to talk to an IDP education counselor.
So that's where my question's gonna come in.
Yes.
Because, students lack resources to find this institutions there, institution that, this and there. So the counselor is there to actually assist them, right?
Yes.
On that process. Okay.
Yes. So when they discuss with the education counselor or with their IDP education counselor their aims and their priorities in choosing which specific school, which specific program, that's when the assessment happens.
Okay.
That's when the counselor would check their qualifications, number one, whether employment or education qualifications, and compare it with the requirements of the school they would like to apply to.
Okay, I see.
So once that's sorted out, it will only take maybe around 45 minutes for a thorough discussion. Once that's sorted out, comes the next step. That's when we go to the submission of application.
Submission of application.
Yes. Yes.
So we're talking about the academic requirements and financial requirements here?
Yes.
Okay.
So some schools would have different set of requirements, but basically, the student would need to complete the application form, a copy of the transcript of records, passport, and birth certificate. Those are the basic 4 requirements. The rest can follow later, or it would depend on the specific school's requirement for that specific program. So your counselor or the IDP education counselor will process everything for the student, certify the documents, submit it to the school, and coordinate with the representative that we directly reach out to.
Okay, so how is it different with doing the applications themselves?
Okay, so usually universities or colleges overseas, whether in Australia or New Zealand, require the help or assistance of education agencies because they cannot deal with the bulk of international student applications that they receive.
Okay.
So in short, they don't have the capacity, nor do they have the resources to be able to process everything. That's why the students are asked to go through these education agencies,
Alright.
like who IDP is.
Okay.
So when a student comes to IDP, talks to an education counselor, the counselor will have that first-hand or direct contact with the school.
Okay, so the turnaround time is...
Well, it depends, but basically maybe around 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Alright,
Yes.
good. And the final step? That brings us to the final step, right?
Yes. Fourth, the visa application.
Alright.
So visa processing time would differ depending on the country or destination the student is going to. For Australia, it's an average of 4 to 6 weeks. And New Zealand right now is around 6 to 8 weeks.
Not long.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
So I advise students definitely who are, keen to study overseas, make sure you have enough time to prepare for your visa application.
True, that's right. So we're not only talking about 3 or 4 months time here, right?
In an average, around 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
But there's a caveat there. If the student is ready with all the documents, then in a span of maybe a month or a month and a half to 2 months at the maximum,
Okay.
we can have everything sorted out.
Alright, okay. So you can process in 2 months, especially for those students probably who had been eyeing for, because there are several intake dates or the starts of semesters. in
Yes,
Australia.
yes.
If I'm not mistaken, it's February and July.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
if I were a student and I wanted to enroll as soon as possible, so how would you be able to, or IDP be able to help me process my application as quickly as possible?
Okay, so make sure you have all the requirements ready. And that you're really, really decided and committed to pursue with the application. Because once you've submitted it, that's it.
Alright, there's no going back.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I never thought that it could be as easy as that with the proper assistance, of course, and support with IDP. Okay, so what are you guys waiting for? I think you can tell them where they can visit and what's the first thing to do when they want to speak with the counselor now.
So we have 2 office locations. One is here at the 16th floor of Marco Polo Ortigas, and the second one is in Cebu at the ground floor of Keppel Center. We are open Mondays to Saturdays, and the first step that they would have to do is to book that appointment.
So thank you so much, Cecil, for enlightening us about studying in Australia and New Zealand specifically. So to all the students out there who wanted to jumpstart their academic journey, what are you guys waiting for? Just book the appointment now. But if you still do have questions, we'd be happy to answer that. So send us your questions and we will be answering that on our next episode. So keep tuning in. Thank you and goodbye. Chica.